so I moved. This time I don't have team doctors. So I went to 38 different doctors for 59 prescriptions in 5 months.
Say that again, 38 doctors,
Yeah.
59 prescriptions in
5 months. And I got charged with 3 felonies.
Hey, welcome to Kingdom Conversations. We're glad you dropped by, and I am so excited to be here with my dear friend, Markus McFolling from Reach One. How are you, my brother?
I'm doing well, Bishop, doing well.
Markus, you and I connected through some mutual friends, but we really linked arms in Jerusalem.
Oh,
you
yeah.
came with us to Israel.
Absolutely.
I know that was a transformative trip for you.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk about that in a little bit, but you have an incredible ministry, one that is so needed right now, because we see addiction stealing the next generation.
Absolutely.
We see, we hear almost weekly about deaths,
For sure.
fentanyl poisoning, overdose, all that's coming into our nation from other nations with this drug crisis. This touched your life. You were a high school football star, top of the game. You were in the NFL Combine in 2011, training with the teams, going toward a pro career. You got injured, and you did what so many people do. You took what the doctor told you to take, which is how it starts.
Absolutely.
You did what you were told to do and started on this medication. It turned into addiction. It almost took your life. But you encountered the power of God.
Come on, yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about that journey and that testimony.
Yeah, so prior to the addiction, football was everything. My identity was rooted in football. I loved the game. I was good at it. It opened doors for me. It brought me from California all the way to Ohio to play football at a high level, and had never done drugs in my life. And so I had no idea just what drugs were, but I knew how to play the game. And then I got injured working out for an NFL team. And what that did was my doctors prescribed me pain medication. So I say I became an accidental drug addict. They prescribed me 3 powerful narcotics at the same time. And so when you're psychologically depressed and you are physically dependent on medication and you don't know who you are, you're going to completely lose yourself. And it wasn't my goal to be a drug addict, but when it hit me, I had no idea what to do. I would try to quote the scriptures and things that I had learned in college, but nothing was changing. And the only thing that would help me was when I would take the pain medication, because it made me numb the pain, because I felt like I was worthless. And it was just terrible.
And it was just a downward spiral for you.
Spiral.
It was a horrible time. What was the rock bottom?
Yeah.
What was the thing that shifted for you?
So we had team doctors that would give me medication whenever I wanted, which unfortunately, living in the state that I was living in, there should have been more regulations and protocol. But my wife got pregnant, and I wanted to be a dad more than anything because my dad wasn't in my life.
Wow.
And so I said, okay, well, let's move back to Ohio where all of our Christian friends are. I thought if I got around Christians, things would transform, but changing geographically does not handle your issues. And so I moved. This time I don't have team doctors. So I went to 38 different doctors for 59 prescriptions in 5 months.
Say that again, 38 doctors,
Yeah.
59 prescriptions in
5 months. And I got charged with 3 felonies. So now I am struggling with addiction. I'm a potential felon. I can't be a dad because my brain is not working correctly. And the only thing I wanted to do was leave the earth. June 16, 2017 is when my wife called the police on me. Wow. She called the cops on me, and I'll never forget that day. The cruisers come in front of my house, and I'm holding my daughter. And I didn't know what was really happening because I'm really not into it. I'm still kind of high. And they said, Mr. McFolling, you have to give us Avery. I didn't know how to do that. It was like they performed open heart surgery right there. They took my daughter from me. They put me in the back of a cop cruiser, and they took me to the police station, and they took me to jail. And as I'm sitting inside of a cell, everything that happened, the only thing I could think about were the 12 pills I had inside of the house. The addiction, the levels of deception that I was walking through were crazy. I get released on bond. I go home. Everything's gone. And I have some choices to make. So I came up with this great plan of how I was going to kill myself. I didn't want to live anymore, and I was going to do it on my first Father's Day. And I remember my wife is in hiding at this point because I was an unsafe person to be around. No one knew what I would do.
Dear Lord.
And I just remember I would call her about 100 times a day. And she finally picked up for one 5-minute FaceTime phone call with my little girl. And it was a FaceTime phone call that changed my life.
Wow. So intense. So intense. And I wish we had hours to talk because there's so much there, but people are going to be able to check you out online and find out more information about you. out of all of that,
Yeah.
God gets you into rehab.
Yep.
You meet God in a deeper way.
absolutely.
You get victory out of that,
Oh, yeah.
and you find purpose. And this is the story of God, right? The story of redemption is that God enters our pain. That's the story of Christianity, that God became flesh. God didn't stay removed. God didn't stay distant. God drew near. And whoever you are and whatever you're going through today, God is not distant. He might feel like he's 10,000 miles away, but he's right there. He's right there. He is one breath of you just calling on him from him working in your circumstance. That doesn't mean it's going to be an overnight situation. You can have a lot that you have to walk out of, but you'll start walking in the right direction. And on the other side of that becomes your calling, which is reach one.
Yes, sir.
So out of pain comes purpose.
Absolutely.
And speak a little bit about reach one and what's involved in what you're doing.
Absolutely. So when I was in rehab, I had pled guilty to my felonies, just crazy journey. The judge forgives me for everything, drops all the charges. I go back to the rehabilitation center. I'm reading the Bible, and Luke 15 is opened up. And I had never read the story before, but it was the story of the lost sheep. And I realized the Lord spoke to me and says, "You were the lost sheep I left the 99 for. Never make ministry about numbers. Every person has infinite value." Then I heard reach one. It stands for reconciling every abandoned child home.
Wow.
He spoke to me in
reconciling every abandoned child home.
So,
I love it.
He spoke to me in my lowest moment. And I didn't speak or anything. I was a football player. But exactly a year later, graduated the program, family gets completely reunited. Things are going great. I get a call from a principal and said, "Hey, Marcus, we'd love for you to come and speak to our 2,000 students." I said, "You want me to talk to them?" "What?" "Okay." So I went into the school. I didn't know you couldn't preach the gospel like that in public schools, but man, I brought it. And we get a chance to travel all around the country and speak to the next generation, middle schools, high schools, festivals, conferences, telling them who they are. And just last year, we spoke to 262,000 people.
262,000 people, bringing hope, because out of brokenness, out of this tragedy, is a story of hope and a story of life. And if you're interested in connecting with Markus, with Reach One, just look at the link below. All of his social media is there. All the ways to connect with him are there. Markus, just in the last couple minutes we have, we had the privilege of taking you to Israel, which I know was a transformative experience. I know you want to come back with us soon. We want to get you back there.
Go back multiple times.
It's shifted your understanding of your own faith.
100%.
And it's shifted your understanding of the Jewish people, the Jewish community. And as we're recording this right now, I mean, we are seeing some levels of anti-Semitism on American university campuses that we never thought we'd see in our lifetime. What did that trip do for you, and how does it inform your life today? And what would you say to people watching?
The trip, I went into the trip not understanding a whole lot. I thought I knew the Bible. I studied it, I read it, I memorized it. I thought I knew it, but going over to Israel, and it's crazy to say, and anyone who's been there understands what I'm about to say. When you get off of the plane.
There it is. How do you explain that? I say that all the time to people. I'm like, I mean, because I've heard, I have thousands of people who've said it, and you tell it to people, they look at you like this. But
it is. When you get off of the plane, it's different. It's holy. And the experiences that we had there, seeing what I read, it actually gave it so much context. And then I understood when I met the people. Because I don't really think I had an understanding of who the Jewish people were. I'm like, okay, they're God's chosen people, praise God. I'm going to keep preaching and doing what I want to do. But when I went to Israel, I realized that they are God's chosen people. Like that word chosen is important. And they're important to God. And I actually, as an evangelist.
It is like a foundational puzzle piece.
100%.
And if you don't get that piece right, everything else you're building is off and unstable.
Absolutely.
But when you get this piece locked in, all these other things start to make sense.
Falls into place. And that's, for me, it was like there were so many transformative moments, but when I got a chance to hear from the people and talk to them and hear their hearts and understand that God, it's not that God did something in their lives many years ago, that he's still doing something in their lives today. And it was an invitation to be a part of that. it has changed my preaching. It's changed the way that I read the Bible. It's changed the way that I look at the Jewish people, and understanding that I have a voice that I can use. I have a platform that I can use to help be the hands and feet of Jesus, to stand up for our brothers and sisters, especially in the midst of what's going on in the world. It's an invitation for anybody that calls upon the name of the Lord.
Yep.
It's not even an invitation. I believe it's a mandate from heaven.
Isaiah 62. I've posted watchmen on your walls, O Jerusalem, you who call on the name of the Lord. Doesn't say you Jews who call on the name of the Lord. Doesn't say those of you who have a burden for Israel. It says if you call on the name of the Lord, give yourselves no rest, give him no rest until he establishes Jerusalem and makes her a praise in the earth. And that's why we do what we do every day.
100%.
And we're so proud of you and so blessed to have you in our lives. And I really want you to learn more about this ministry, support that ministry, get involved with Reach One. They're great ground. And brother, we love you.
Appreciate you.
And we can't wait to get you back to Israel soon,
Come
all
on.
right?
Amen.
God bless. God bless you, everybody. Thank you for dropping by. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the share button. Get connected with us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. All the social media is there. Turn on the notifications. Be a part of this global movement of Jerusalem-centered Christianity. Guess what? Jesus is a Jew. It makes a difference. Keep praying and working for the peace of Jerusalem. I'll see you next time.